Hey everybody, and welcome to me going through my favorites list on fanfiction.net. Once again, as I've stated again and again, I've sorted these stories on my fanfiction account by publication date, reading the oldest to newest, and seeing if they still deserve to stay on my list or not. So let's dive in with some Evangelion. Starting with Digital Love by Gunman. And this is a crack ship story about the Magi, the three supercomputers that run Nerve, falling in love with Shinji. It's fun. Like in the previous video, I talked about the Thief of Hogwarts as a story in a fun world that you just want to spend more time in, and that's similar here. I wish there was more, and it's just fun being with the characters and stuff. What really gets the big laughs out of this, like the main story is funny, but there's no huge laughs. But there's omake is pretty much at the end of every chapter, that's where the big laughs come from, and I really enjoy this. It's a simple bit of humor that's fun to revisit again and again. It's gonna stay on my list. Next is Pieces of My Mind by Drakensis, and once again, this is a collection of ideas, half-baked ideas, first chapters, rough drafts, stuff like that. I did enjoy a few of these, but most of them just didn't seem to connect with me. The writing's not bad. I don't think so. It just some of them, I didn't know the source material at all, and the writing itself wasn't enough to grab me. And otherwise, some others were just really, really short and were launching points rather than even a fully formed idea, really. I think this collection will probably be more for writers than people looking to just enjoy it. So it's more like if you're looking for some ideas to use as a jumping off point, this might be good, but otherwise, yeah, it's not something most people I think would be super interested in. So yeah, it's gonna fall off my list. Number 3 is The Master of Discipline by Lord of the Land of Fire. And this is a Sekirei fanfiction which takes place, starts right after Minato failed his exams for the first time, and canon starts the second time. And so he becomes the Ashikabi for the disciplinary squad. And it's good. I like it. One of the biggest things is that it's different. Certain canon beats still happen, but the butterflies, because of this one change, start happening immediately. I don't, and you know what, a lot of stories, especially when there's just minor changes, it's like, oh, this one change happened, so let's just see how it goes. And I read a lot of those, and some of them are great, some not so good, but just when you read so much like I do, when there's big differences that occur, or you get custom, like if you do a Naruto story, and you do something other than the wave mission, or you do some other stuff, novelty is a big bonus, and it makes you stick out in my mind. The character development is nice as well, though similar to the last Sekirei fic I talked about. It really is one chapter per person. The difference between this and the last one is that the main characters get more than one chapter. In the first one, it really seemed like the main characters only got that one chapter of development as well, and then the rest was just small bits of comedy with just, okay, then big plot point. Whereas here, it feels like an actual story that is continuing from point to point, and feels like the main character, at least, is growing, and you see him change a lot, which I like a lot. The one issue that I do have with this story is it feels like the author just decided, okay, I'm only going to write 25 chapters. That is my cap. And then he realized, he got to chapter 20 and is like, oh crap, it's going to end soon. I got to run through this really fast. So it really wraps up in the last few chapters. It kind of makes sense from Minato's character development standpoint. You know, how he handles it and what he does. Yeah, total sense. Minaka, on the other hand, the main guy of MBI, it seems a little weird that he gives up so easily, you know, to what it does, but it's not a deal breaker in any way. It just feels rushed. I did enjoy the story a lot. I feel it's different it's different enough, and then from the start, and then a huge bunch of, you know, butterflies change the rest of the story. So if you want a different take on Sekirei, I think this would be a really good choice for you, and this is gonna stay on my list. Now we jump back to Harry Potter with Through the Cupboard, which is by Neurotica, and it's okay. It's good. You know, this story's good, but there's better. That's basically it. Like Harry, the story's about like Harry gets stuck in his bedroom after Goblet of Fire stuff. Not his bedroom, but his old bedroom, the cupboard underneath the stairs, and then finds a portal and then goes to it and ends up in a world where his parents never died. And so it's, you know, that kind of situation and that stuff. That's a story that's like a setup for a lot of feels moments and a lot of like, you know, sensitive feeling stuff, and it just didn't seem to really hit as hard as it should. Mainly just because I think I'm more used to I'm used to the fanfic writing style, which is not like book style. And so the common rule in fan fiction is, why use one word when you can use 12? And so it just makes the scenes here feel a lot shorter than they needed to be. And it seems like they go by too fast. So before you even really can start empathizing with Harry in a situation where everybody's feeling betrayed and stuff, and then before you can even really get a grasp on that, everybody just forgives each other and it's all okay again. I think the story is good. There's the issue that it's more of a starting point rather than a full story, because, well, you can say it's a full story of Harry becoming fully accepted into this new universe. That's fine, but it's very much just like a middle thing. You know, Voldemort's still out there, all this stuff is still going on, that all happens. I believe there's a sequel that is on my list, and actually will probably be in the next video, but the sequel was never completed. So taking this by itself, like, it's fine. It's a good story. I did enjoy it, but I know that there's better versions of this out there, and I'm pretty sure there's better versions on my list. Well, I wouldn't be disappointed if I came back to this. It's not really something I think I'd look for, so it's not gonna stay on my list, but I do think it's good. So if you just want a bit of Harry connecting with his family, feel free to take a look. Number 5 for this list is KK1 Kid Keitaro by Rinswin 1990, and this is a Love Hina story, which is basically Love Hina canon, except Keitaro is 8 years old at the start of canon, and that's fine. It's just like Love Hina. Like, a lot of the beats of where Motoko's sister showing up for a bit, Sue's brother and sister showing up, like, those beats all still happen, but it's just, Keitaro's a kid, and so all all the comedic violence is gone. There's no comedic violence in this story, and what's left is a pretty heartwarming story about family. I like the writing. It's fun. Each of the problematic girls have like an arc of where they get over a bit of their issues and start to love the little guy. And at the end we get a little epilogue of everybody just being teasing older sisters and like loving this little family. If you want a dose of WoF, give this a look. I did enjoy this a lot, and it's gonna stay on my list. Going back to Harry Potter again with All the Dementors of Azkaban by Life Writer. This story is an alternate take of after second year, where it was Luna who set the basilisk on everyone instead of Ginny, and so Luna gets sent to Azkaban, and Harry decides to go there and protest, and basically just ends up befriending everybody on the island, Dementors, Death Eaters included. It's not really written, it's written more as a collection of small scenes rather than a continuing narrative as a one-shot. We just get like this small comedic scene. It just cuts out everything that's not comedy, basically. And it's okay. No huge laughs, but you'll find some mild, some chuckles throughout most of this. I found it to be fun. I just didn't get super into it and super funny. I didn't find it super funny. I found it funny, but not at the level that I think deserves to stay on my list. But it is enjoyable enough that it won't harm you to check it out. And now last, we go back to the first category that we started this video with, more Evangelion. This time the story is called Hild's Son by Kaitranis. And Hild is from Oh My Goddess, which this is a crossover with. And basically Shinji gets raised as the new Prince of Hell for 10 years and then comes back to Evangelion canon with a whole bunch of demon powers and shit like that, and makes angels a walk in the park. The characters are fun. I like this Shinji, and we see like Skuld show up. He messes with Rey's mind a bit to give her emotions way earlier on, so she has it like right at the start, and she's like learning stuff, which is fun, and it's just the fact that the story really doesn't get anywhere. It's unfinished, and it gets 5 chapters in, which goes from the start, and the last chapter is on the boat where he meets Asuka. So what we have is a bunch of few funny scenes and some hints of future coolness, like Shinji hinting that he can summon kaijus to fight the Evangelion, like summon up Godzilla to fight him, which would be cool, but that's never going to be, because I'm pretty sure this fic hasn't updated in 9 years. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, what's here is not good enough by itself, and it's not worthy to stay on the list. Nothing bad, just not interesting enough by itself. And there we have it. 7 more stories, 3 of which stayed on my list. Thank you again for watching. If you're interested in any of these stories, as always, I leave links in the description. If you like the video or think I'm wrong and stuff, please leave a like or a comment, and please subscribe if you want to continue on my journey. It's gonna go for probably a few more years, but yeah, I'm gonna stick this out. I'm going to read all of this. Thank you all so much for watching, and it's Christmas Eve, so tomorrow, Merry Christmas.